Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Lando Venata to defeat Charles Jourdain. And I'm here to talk about Matt Frevola versus Drew Dober. This is going to be an awesome fucking fight, and it's opening the main card, I believe. And I might be wrong on that. I think I am wrong on that. I think it's the main event of the prelims. Either way, Matt Frevola is 32 years old. He's got a record of 10, 3, and 1. And he's also got 1 inch of height and 1 inch of reach on Drew Dober, who is 34 years old and has a record of 26 and 11. Frevola, let's start with him. There are doubts about his chin. Of course, 2 of his 3 losses come by knockout, both in the UFC, as well as his decision, of course. But the knockouts come to Terrence McKinney and to Marco Polo Reyes. Polo Reyes got him out of there in a few minutes, and Terrence McKinney got him out of there in a few seconds. But for a guy that, still doesn't have too many fights altogether, this is only his 15th fight overall. He's definitely, whatever. There are questions about his chin. The thing is, when his chin doesn't fail him, he's a problem for anybody. He just doesn't stop working, scratch and claw to get big wins over Jalen Turner, Luis Pena. He had that draw with Lando Venata. That was just a real war. And even, fared pretty well against Arman Tsarukyan. And I think Matt Frevola definitely has a lot of upside. But it's just questions about his chin. I have doubts about his chin. And Drew Dober is one of the top candidates to exploit any potential holes there. Drew Dober is one of the best knockout artists at lightweight. He's got a record of 26 and 11, as I said. Half his wins, 13 of them come by knockout. 6 by submission. I can only remember 1 of them. I don't think too many of them happened in the UFC. And 7 decisions. His 11 losses come 1 by knockout, 4 by submission, and 6 by decision. Now look, with Frevola, especially with his recent knockout win over Atman Azaitar, a knockout is always possible. But Drew Dober has an iron chin. His 1 loss by knockout actually is a legitimate knockout. He was knocked unconscious, but it was on the ground after a scramble, and he just, he was caught cold on the ground and then didn't move, sat there like a deer in the headlights, and got knocked out. But that was a very young Drew Dober. He's 34 now. I want to say he was probably 23 or something then, because he's been in the UFC for a long fucking time. But since then, after watching him fight and lose plenty of times, I'd say he's got one of the best chins in the sport today. Again, despite it already having failed him on the regional circuit. But I think it's good enough to withstand Matt Frevola's power. And on the flip side, I don't think Frevola's chin is good enough to withstand Drew Dober's power. And Drew Dober carries it late. He's got 3 beautiful comeback knockout victories in the last year, all in 2022. 1 in round 1 against Terrence McKinney, 1 in round 2 against Bobby Green, and 1 in round 3 against Rafael Alves. And those are all really dangerous guys, and they all had him almost hurt, which that's really what gives me doubt about his chin. Not the knockout loss back in fucking 1998, but the fact that he's been hurt more lately. And Bobby Green was lighting him up. He was really hurting him badly. But Drew Dober hung in there, and Drew Dober, he's always got that kill shot. And to find that kill shot with Bobby Green is just fucking exceptional. But to find it with Matt Frevola, I think it should come more easily. The fact that he's fighting a guy who doesn't have that much experience and already has the 2 knockout losses, and has even been hurt or knocked around a little bit in other fights. I do think Drew Dober can get it done, and that's my pick. I think even if Matt Frevola is working him with the wrestling, which if Frevola was smart, he'd be striking his way into shots, and Frevola's really good at mixing it up. Really, really good at mixing it up, and he's got that fucking grind to him where he can definitely take the fight to Drew Dober, make it a grappling battle, or try to, and if he can't out-grapple him, he can, suck the life out of him like, Islam Makhachev and Dariush could, then he can definitely grind on him like he did to big, strong guys like Jalen Turner. But despite any success that their advantage Frevola might have, I do think Dober's going to be in this fight. I don't think Frevola's got that submission prowess to get him out of there in the middle of the fight like Islam and Dariush, and I don't think he's got, the power to shut out Drew Dober's chin, even if it's starting to wilt a little bit. So I think Dober's always going to be in this fight, and the fact that he is, I've got to go with Dober. I got to go with Dober by knockout. I know I just made it sound like I was picking him to win by round 3 knockout. I'd probably go with him to win by round 1 knockout. That's the way Frevola's lost twice. But regardless, I think Dober's power will be the story. You can get him at finish, minus 155. I don't know. I'd rather play his money line at minus 210. And Frevola by decision, I threw a sprinkle on. Absolutely, plus 475. I think that's by far and away his most likely path to victory against Drew Dober. Again, who's 7-6 in decisions. And Frevola's 4-1 in decisions, with the one loss coming to Sarukian. So no shame there. But Frevola is definitely more of a grinder, and if he does win, I believe it's going to be him, racking up points and pulling ahead, winning a decision. Drew Dober, if he wins, most likely it's by knockout. But again, power wins rounds as well. So, and knockdowns do, of course. But Dober's the pick. I'll go late round 1 knockout for the official pick. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.